This video is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is a book about Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother Kobe Barhanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi.
Against the Flow of Mississippi was written by Anthony Oksenholt and was published by Oksenholt Biloxi Publishing, LLC. A link to the book will be placed in the description below.
Yeah, this a revolution in our time. Everybody's fighting, change coming, yes. That's why it's an acronym for riot. Everybody has a voice. Don't you dare stay silent. If you say nothing, you are an accessory to violence.
They've had their say. Seems like they've had that kind of say around here for too long. I had to stand up for myself alone. I went in there to remind them that somewhere in this world there's still a little law and order left. To let them know the only kind of terms that their kind understand is that they can't bribe or threaten their way out of what they did. Let them do this to me and get away with it, and you give them the eternal right to do the same damn thing to any one of you.
Access 228, your host, Anthony Oksenholt, where we report the facts and we are not for sale. If you have a news story or something that's on your mind, please feel free to give us a call at 228-337-2099. Be glad to have you on. Thank you for listening, and we do appreciate all that you do to support us and keep free and independent journalism doing what we do best. All right, y'all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you may be. I want to introduce myself. I made a video and the audio kind of bothered me, so I'm redoing this. But I want to do a video on why I want to be the next sheriff of Harrison County, Mississippi. I will promise y'all that I'm going to get a haircut and a shave before I put on the uniform. Period. Right now, I'm just kind of enjoying it because I ain't never had my hair this long. That being said, let me introduce myself. Y'all have seen me on here as Anthony Oksenholt. Oksenholt is not my legal last name yet. Oksenholt is my biological father's last name, which I will be changing to mine. My legal last name is Allen. The reason I'm changing it is because Bill Allen, my grandfather who adopted me when I was just days old, is an embarrassment to me. Nothing short of an embarrassment. He was a Harrison County deputy sheriff for 35 years, and instead of being a deputy, he should have been an inmate. This man worked under Eddie McDonald, Leroy Hobbs. He started in 1950, and he retired in 1985. And he didn't do much law enforcement while he had his badge. What he did do was perpetuate the corruption that was going on in Harrison County at that time. And one of the things that he did was he shot my grandmother in the head in 1974, and she survived. She died in 2005, shortly after Katrina. That being said, I used to look at his uniform, or I used to look at him when I was putting my uniform on every day when I was in law enforcement. That being said, a couple of years ago, I found out who my biological father was. And being that the Allen name and having him as my adoptive parent is embarrassing to me because of the nature of his character, that's why I'm changing it. I am a native Biloxian. I've lived in Biloxi. I was born there. Lived in West Biloxi most of my life. I want to be the next sheriff of the county that I call home. I want to be a sheriff that will enforce the law equally. I want the Harrison County Sheriff's Department to be the example, the standard for law enforcement in the state of Mississippi. That means every other state agency is going to look to Harrison County as an example of what should be. That's what I want. I want the rest of the state to go, man, Harrison County, y'all doing it right. I want people to come down to the coast and see things that are showing signs of improvement. Right now, I see a lot of deterioration. I'm seeing a sheriff that don't want to lock anybody up because of this reason or that reason. The jail's small. I'm seeing a lot of people on dope running around. That tells me there's a lot of people slinging dope. I got a problem with that. When I'm sheriff, if you sell dope in Harrison County, Mississippi, you're going to prison. No questions asked. I want to work with the district attorney and the judges in circuit court to make sure that these people who are harming the community understand that there are consequences for their actions. Period. You break the law in Harrison County, you're going to get what you get. You come down here, you want to run around here and, act like you ain't got a care in the world, I'm going to put you up in the Harrison County Jail and let the court system handle the rest of it. We used to, if you look around Harrison County today versus 20 years ago, I would say that we're showing the worst. 20 years ago was right after Katrina. I felt safer after Katrina than I do today. I'm not saying that I don't completely feel safe, but then again, I know how to handle myself. And I don't fear anybody. I have zero fear. Matter of fact, I really don't know what fear is. But that doesn't mean that your average citizen should have to worry about it. I want to be known as a sheriff who is tough on crime and one that cares about the citizens of this county. Because I do. I love this area. I love Mississippi. I think that we live in the greatest place in the world. Some of y'all will be like, well, there's better places. There's not a place, and I've lived other places. I've lived in Arizona. I've lived in Tennessee. I've lived in Florida. I've lived in Ohio. There is not a place in the world that I have been to, and I've been to 48 states, that I have seen that I would call home, except right here in Harrison County. We have so much that we offer, that we can offer, and so much potential down here. And I don't believe that we're getting the best out of it. Certainly not in law enforcement. Harrison County is the second most populous county in the state. Yet, I know as of 2022, and I'm sure it's still going on, I haven't checked lately, but we have police departments that are sending their inmates to Stone County. Why are we paying another county to house our inmates? It makes no sense. And then, while they're up there in Stone County, assuming this is still going on, which I'll confirm it and report on it. But assuming that it's still going on, if you get arrested in, say, Biloxi or Gulfport, and they take you to Stone County, it's real easy to walk out of the jail in Stone County. All you have to do is say one sentence, and you're out the door. I'm going to kill myself. Oh, call them back Biloxi or Gulfport, Long Beach, Pass Christian, D'Iberville, whoever brought you up there. You got to come get them. They threaten suicide. Harrison County ain't going to take you. So what are you doing? You'll go on a psych hold for about 3 days and you're back out on the street. Why? Why do we have a jail that is the exact same size that it was when it was built in the late 80s under Larkin Smith? When our population is 25% greater, and the jail structurally was built to be expanded. Larkin Smith was a smart man. Former sheriff and later Congressman Larkin Smith was a very smart man. He had a great idea when he built that jail out there, when he had the jail built. He knew that the coast was going to expand, and he built the jail to be able to cost effectively expand it. I think you can go up 7 stories. Why haven't we done this? I know at some point we've gotten grants. I know after Katrina we got some. I know we've gotten some since then. We had a whole consent decree put down on us by the Department of Justice after the Jesse Lee Williams murder. Why didn't we expand the jail? If we're so worried about overcrowding. We're bigger county population wise than we were 40 years ago. We might want to have facilities that keep up with it. Which is exactly, again, how the jail was designed. I would like to push to expand the jail. Now, this is under the purview of the Board of Supervisors. There's several things that I would like to do for the jail. Right now, most of the jail, from what I could tell, from when I walked through there and when I've seen it, seem like inmates are in two-man cells. Well, that's fine for some inmates. Some inmates need to be in one or two-man cells. No disagreement here. But if you add, let's say you add 2 more floors to the jail, and you make them with open bay housing dormitories in it. Now, I'm a former correctional officer. I know how to run a jail. I know how to run a prison. I did most of my time working for the Florida Department of Corrections. There ain't too much about corrections that people can tell me that I don't know. I'm not saying I know everything, but I am saying that I had some great teachers and I did a lot of reading, a lot of research, and I know a lot. I know a lot more than most. Why don't we have open bay dormitories? And then you put your inmates that, for whatever reason, can't be housed in an open bay dorm, you put them into one or two-man cells. That saves the county money. It's less maintenance on a building. It allows for more inmates to be housed there. So if we have a situation to where we need a lot more space, we've got it. And since the Mississippi Department of Corrections doesn't want to fastly process convicted felons post conviction through the system, we can still house them there. Personally, I'd love to get them out of there and send them to SMCI or CMCF, get them off our count. But unfortunately, it's a little above my pay grade because they still got to go through intake and reception. When Matt Haley ran, he made the comment that locking people up with mental illness was cruel and unusual punishment. I disagree with him to a point. I agree with him to a smaller degree, but I disagree with him on a larger degree that I would venture to say that at least 80% of the people that I dealt with in prison have some sort of mental illness. Either they were born with it, they went through some traumatic event in their life that caused their brain to snap, or chemical dependence. That being said, why don't we have mental health staff at the jail? For that matter, since mental health is such a big issue, and I know most of the Mississippi legislature is going to, they ignore it, but it's a big thing. It is a very big thing. In addition to having mental health staff on staff at the jail, literally 24 hours a day, which I think needs to happen, medical and mental health. You can cross train them. I say every shift, every patrol shift. And if it was up to me, when I'm sheriff, we're going If they're on 12s, we're going to stay on 12s. If they're on 8s, we're going to 12s. Go to a Panama schedule. A, B, C, D, and admin shift. So 5 shifts. And what you want to do is, what I want to see is 2 mental health professionals on staff per shift. That's 10 personnel. A, B, C, and D, and admin. That means that at least from the hours of 9 to 5, there will be 2 additional mental health staff. Those admin mental health staff will be responsible for the jail and the street. The mental health staff for patrol will not just be available for the Harrison County Sheriff's Department, but for every law enforcement agency in the county. If Biloxi's got a situation, if Gulfport's got a situation, Long Beach, Pass Christian, D'Iberville, these staff are for them. Now I'm helping out the other departments in the county. They need to be CIT and CNT certified. CIT, critical incident training, and CNT is crisis negotiation training. They need to be trained for this. They need to be on staff. I would rather have people like that talk somebody back from a ledge than to have a patrol officer use force. And when they use force, now we realize that that's probably not the best that can happen. Now we have a situation where people are hurt. I would like to increase the training of street officers. We have a law enforcement academy right there off of County Farm Road. A lot of law enforcement, even in surrounding counties, go to that academy. Not just Harrison County deputies, Biloxi PD, Gulfport, Jackson County, I believe, sends some of their people over. George County, Stone County, I know for a fact does. Hancock, Pearl River. Why don't we increase the training at the academy? I did a whole video on what the curriculum for Melota is. I don't see anywhere in Mississippi state statutes that state that you can't go above the training. We should always strive to be better at our jobs. I always did. I didn't turn down training. Training is important. I would like to put more emphasis on using this than using these. I call it less plumbing and more forehead. Okay, so yes, it takes a brave person to just come out here and work law enforcement. 100% agree. But just because you got the brawn, you've got the bravado to come out here and do it, doesn't mean that you're properly trained, because to a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I want to give these officers that are coming through the academy a few more tools than just a hammer. I want to give them, I want them to use this. Use their head. I would much rather them use some CIT skills and de escalation to try to bring the situation down to a manageable level instead of steadily increasing. That's what I want to see. Sometimes you got to take it there. No argument. It just some people you can't reason with. At that point, when you have exhausted everything you can, now we go use force. Unless it just gets to a point to where you have to use force, and then in that case, use force. I've used force. I've used a lot of force in my career. A hell of a lot. Sometimes I think back and I wonder what I could have done different. There's some things that there's just nothing I could do to get out of that use of force. I think with increased training, we can reduce the use of force dramatically. I think also with training and using this, we can also have better rapport with our citizens. Now, what I'm fixing to say is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, but it is the truth. It is nothing short of the truth. Most minorities don't trust law enforcement. Most. I'm not going to say all, especially the younger generation. And we need to be asking ourselves why. I have an answer to it. And again, this is fixing to get real uncomfortable for some of y'all. I am a white man. I am 41 years old. If I'm out here driving my truck and I get pulled over by the cops, what's going to happen to me? Let me see your license. Let me see your insurance. Chances are better than not, I'm just going to wind up with a ticket and warning, a ticket or a warning, depending on what it is. Maybe if it's something serious, I might get a little bit more than that. Maybe I'll get taken to jail. The likelihood of your average white man or white woman having force used on them is dramatically disproportionate to a black person. I said it. And I've seen it. I've seen proof of it. When a black person gets pulled over, especially a younger black person, they're afraid. And it's a shame. They are waiting to see if they're going to get shot by the cop. They're waiting to see if the cop is going to use force on them in some way. Get out of the car. Can I search your vehicle? Oh, I can't? Well, that's okay. Let me call K9. When I'm sheriff, we ain't going to have none of that. Everybody's going to get treated the same. Period. I've seen videos of Gulfport police officers pulling somebody over for a equipment malfunction, improper equipment, and it turned into a use of force. Why did it turn into a use of force? Well, the officer escalated it. Got the videos right here on this channel, y'all. Y'all are more than welcome to look at them. And this is not an isolated incident. If you use your noggin, you'll figure it out. I'm not going to put up with it. If one of my deputies does something like that, I'm probably going to fire him. Once I see that there was no reason for it, number one, you're setting the county up for a lawsuit, and that either falls on whoever our insurance is or the citizens to pay for it, which takes resources away from the department. I kind of have a problem with that. Because that means that's less resources that we can use to benefit the community. And it's unnecessary. $100 unnecessary. Now, I'm not a hug-a-thug. I am 100% in favor of law and order. I am 100% in favor of if you violate the law, you get what you get. I've said it at the beginning of the video. But there's still a way to treat people humanely. Now, at the jail, we all know what happened to Jesse Lee Williams. And yes, this is heavy on my mind. I guarantee you that when I'm sheriff, that's not going to happen. Inmates are not in jail to be punished. Inmates are in jail as punishment. That's the way I was trained. To give y'all an example, as a correctional officer, I didn't look these guys up. I didn't care why they were in there. I treated the guy who was in there for felony credit card fraud the exact same way as I treated the child molester. You know why? Because it wasn't my job to punish. They were in there as the punishment. I am a firm believer in the Eighth Amendment, the right against cruel and unusual punishment. Let's get on the Constitution for a minute, too, while we're here. Constitution plays into this, going back to the last couple things I mentioned. I'm a firm believer in the Constitution. I am a firm believer in the Bill of Rights. First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to assemble peaceably, freedom to peaceably, freedom to have a redress of grievances. I'm a firm believer in that. Freedom of the press. Second Amendment, big on that. You got the right to keep and bear arms. I will not enforce any gun laws that are unconstitutional. Doesn't matter who says what. Fourth Amendment, searches and seizures. Unreasonable searches and seizures. Yeah. If you are pulled over by the police, that is detained. You're detained. An arrest is a seizure. Searching your car, obviously. You say no to a search, make the officer get a warrant. I'm good with it. And the reason I'm adamant about this is because if the person that's getting searched is riding dirty, I don't want some appellate court to kick it back. I want a conviction to stick. Taking somebody to court costs money. It costs the county money. So I don't want to go in there and have sloppy officers doing sloppy reports and doing a half-ass search. I want it done properly, the right way. Secure a conviction the right way. I don't want it kicked back. If the guy needs to be off the street and the cop does a sloppy job and just cuts corners and says, well, I'm going to search your car anyway because I feel I have this, and it doesn't match up with what case law, the Constitution, policy and procedure, etc., says, the guy's going to get kicked back on the street laughing. If they need to go, do it the right way, then send them. Lock them up. But do it the right way. Fifth Amendment, right to remain silent. I'm a firm believer in that. The right against self-incrimination. Hey, that's a big one. I know some cops will use tactics like, well, you have to answer my questions. No, you don't. And when I'm sheriff, my officers, my deputies will be trained on that. You absolutely have the right not to answer not one question. That don't mean that you're going to get out of it scot-free. If there's other ways to investigate what's going on, they're going to get investigated. If you doing something you ain't got no business doing, you're going to get got. But it's going to be done the right way. And if my officers violate the law, they can get locked up like anybody else. Police officers are not above the law. Sheriff's deputies are not above the law. Nobody's above the law. I don't care who you are. Me, you, an elected official, an appointed official, it doesn't matter. You're not above the law. The law is for everybody. And it will be enforced equally under my administration. Period. There's no reason for it not to be. If I have a dirty officer, a dirty deputy under me, you're getting prosecuted. And I will personally strip you of your uniform, place you in cuffs, and put you in my jail. I'm not going to send you somewhere else. You're going to be sitting there. You'll probably be sitting in a segregated cell, but you're going to be in my jail. I'm not sending you to Stone County or Jackson County or some other county. No, you're going to my jail. Just like anybody else. Because that's how strongly I feel about it. I would like to push for salary increases for law enforcement. And when I say law enforcement, keep in mind, I'm 100% including corrections. And if you think corrections ain't law enforcement, grab a uniform, grab a belt, grab a radio, some handcuffs, some OC spray, and a personal body alarm and go walk a compound. And then tell me corrections ain't law enforcement. Law enforcement does not get paid enough in the state of Mississippi. Period. There is nothing that justifies this, in my opinion. I was making about $20 an hour when I left Miami, the Florida Department of Corrections, and I came to Mississippi and I did corrections over here for $14.75 an hour. That's pathetic. We need to do something about that. It's a dangerous job being on the street or behind the gate. We need to pay our law enforcement officers what they're worth, and I want to push for that. In closing, if y'all are happy with the status quo, y'all want business as usual with the sheriff's department, don't vote for me. If you want real change that's going to benefit the community, that's going to make Harrison County a safer, better place to live and do business, vote for me. I can't register until January of 2027, but I promise you the first business day of the year 2027, I will be at the circuit clerk's office putting my name on the ballot. I've already talked to Justin Wetzel and he's expecting me. I know before it really ramps up, I've got a year and a couple of months. I will tell y'all now, I'm fighting somebody with some money. I ain't got no money, and I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking. I'm asking y'all to share this and get this out there so that we can have a safer place. Oh, one more thing. There's one thing that really bothers me that I forgot to touch on. Going back to the jail. As of this year, Harrison County has enacted a turnkey fee, something that we haven't had in Harrison County in years. If you get arrested and you bond out, you've got to pay the jail $25 to let you go. If that's not a violation of the Eighth Amendment on excessive fines, I don't know what is. Yeah, I know Hancock County's got a turnkey fee. Jackson County's got one. I think Jackson County's $26. Hancock's $25. I think Hancock has to be a money order. Jackson has to be exact change. George County's got a $25 turnkey fee. Stone County's got a $25 turnkey fee. I'm against these turnkey fees. It's unnecessary. No clue where the money goes. I know it goes to the jail, but for what? It seems to me it's awfully punitive. If somebody pays a bail bondsman, that should be the end of it. Or if they're OR'd, they shouldn't have to have a punitive $25 fee behind it. And I don't know if Harrison County's cash or money order or whatever. I haven't had a need to find out, but when I'm sheriff, that's the first thing that's gone. Day one, because it's unduly punitive. And in my opinion, it is unconstitutional. Thank you for watching. Y'all have a good day.